Daniel's heart raced the moment he heard the scream. It wasn't just any cry, it was the kind of desperate, piercing sound that froze every parent's blood cold. His head snapped toward the lake, and in that instant, his world shifted. Two little girls, identical twins, were running frantically near the water, one shrieking for help while the other splashed helplessly, sinking deeper with each terrified gasp. Without hesitation, Daniel bolted from the bench. His coffee spilled, his body moved faster than his mind, instincts taking over. He had no idea who those girls were, no idea that saving them would reopen the darkest chapter of his past. All he knew was that a child's life was slipping away, and he was the only one close enough to stop it. He dived into the icy lake, water crashing around him as he fought through the chill, his pulse thundering louder than the shouts of bystanders. In those chaotic seconds, the rest of the world blurred. It was just him, the child, and the promise he had made to himself the day his own son was born, that no matter how broken life left him, he would never stand by and do nothing when someone needed saving. What Daniel didn't realize was that the girl he pulled from the water, and her twin sister, belonged to the one woman who had once destroyed everything he held dear. The park was alive with laughter that afternoon, the chatter of families, the sound of swings creaking, and children running across the wide grassy fields. Daniel, a single father in his late 30s, watched his 6-year-old son, Michael, chase after a soccer ball with radiant joy. For Daniel, these simple moments were priceless. Life had not been kind to him, he had lost everything once, his career, his home, his pride, all at the hands of one woman whose decision had destroyed his world. He had rebuilt himself, brick by brick, but the scars remained. As he laid the little girl gently on the grass, coughing but safe, her twin sister rushed forward, hugging her tightly with tears streaming down her face. The crowd murmured with relief. Daniel knelt, brushing the wet strands from the girl's forehead. "You're okay now. You're safe." Then he heard it, a woman's frantic voice calling out, breaking through the noise of the park. "Anna! Emily!" Daniel turned, and froze. The woman pushing through the crowd in designer heels and a tailored suit was none other than Victoria Hayes, the powerful CEO who had once fired him, humiliated him, and cost him his entire career. She was the reason he had lost everything years ago. Victoria dropped to her knees, pulling her daughters into her arms. Tears streaked her face as she kissed their foreheads. "Thank God you're safe," she whispered. Then her eyes rose, and locked onto Daniel. Her breath caught. "You," she whispered. Daniel clenched his jaw, fighting back the flood of memories. He remembered the day vividly, standing in her office, accused of something he hadn't done, watching as she destroyed his reputation without a shred of mercy. He had begged, tried to explain, but she had turned her back. Overnight, he had lost his job, his savings, his confidence. He wanted to walk away now, to turn his back the way she once had. But Michael came running up, hugging his father's leg, reminding him of the man he had become. A man who chose kindness, even when life had been cruel. Victoria's lips trembled. "You saved my daughter's life." Daniel nodded stiffly. Any father would have done the same. But deep down, he knew not every father would have. He had chosen to act, to risk himself, without knowing the girl's connection to the woman who had ruined him. The next few days were strange. Victoria couldn't shake the image of Daniel saving her child. For years, she had buried the memory of what she had done to him. Back then, she was a rising CEO, ruthless and uncompromising, firing him after a corporate scandal that she later discovered hadn't been his fault at all. But pride had stopped her from admitting it. By the time the truth surfaced, Daniel had disappeared. Now, fate had thrown them together again. Victoria reached out. She found his modest address and showed up at his small apartment one evening, her daughters holding flowers. Daniel opened the door, surprised. Michael peeked curiously from behind him. Victoria swallowed her pride. "Daniel. I came to thank you. And, to apologize. Her voice shook. I know what I did years ago destroyed your life. I was wrong. I was proud, blind, and heartless. But I see you now, raising your son with strength I could never imagine. You didn't just save my daughter, you reminded me what real integrity looks like. Daniel stood silent, emotions warring inside him. Part of him wanted to slam the door, to tell her it was too late. But then Anna, the girl he had saved, stepped forward and whispered, "Thank you for saving me, Mr. Daniel." She hugged his leg with the innocent trust only a child could give. And in that moment, the bitterness softened. Over time, an unlikely friendship grew. Victoria invited Michael and Daniel to her home for dinners. The children bonded, playing together as if they had always been family. Victoria, for the first time in years, felt humbled, watching Daniel's quiet strength and the way he placed love above everything. One evening, sitting by the fireplace while the children laughed in the background, Victoria turned to Daniel. I spent years chasing power, thinking that's what made me strong. But you've shown me real strength is in compassion, in choosing to forgive, even when you've been wronged. Daniel met her gaze, seeing sincerity where once there had only been pride. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, he said softly. But it can shape the future. Victoria blinked back tears. Then let me make it right. Not just with words. I want to help rebuild what I destroyed. Daniel shook his head. I don't need your money, Victoria. What I need is for my son to grow up in a world where people choose kindness over pride. She nodded slowly, understanding. Months later, Victoria launched a foundation dedicated to helping single parents get back on their feet, providing training, housing, and opportunities. She credited Daniel's courage and compassion as her inspiration. The story of the man who saved her daughter spread across the city, touching countless lives. As for Daniel, he didn't seek recognition. His joy was in watching Michael grow, knowing he had taught his son the value of kindness, forgiveness, and resilience. One crisp autumn afternoon, the twins ran across the park with Michael, laughter ringing in the air. Daniel and Victoria watched from the bench. The past no longer held chains over them. Instead, they were building something new, out of respect, forgiveness, and the quiet power of humanity. Victoria turned to him. You changed me, Daniel. Not just by saving my daughter, but by saving me from myself. He smiled faintly. We all deserve a second chance. Even you. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in gold, it was clear, this was not the story of a man ruined by the past, but of two broken lives finding healing through an act of selfless courage.